Hello, this is Sarah Lawson, and this is my value persuasive speech. As you can tell, I have no audience again today, so I will just try to persuade you guys instead. So to begin, when people think of kids playing video games, they usually think it's a giant waste of time. Well, there are actually 6 very good reasons why introducing video games to kids is actually very beneficial. I've been playing video games since I was a kid, and I know a lot about them, and I'm very passionate about them. So today we will be discussing why introducing video games to kids is actually very beneficial. So to begin, to consider video games as being beneficial, of course, certain standards have to be met. And in my opinion, I think video games meet these standards, so we will see if you think the same way. So first off, to be considered beneficial, certain standards have to be met. It has to improve test scores, it has to improve attention. Third of all, it has to improve problem-solving skills, it has to improve advanced literacy skills, has to improve social skills, and finally, it has to improve bonding with family members. So first I told you which standards have to be met. So second, let's see if video games meet these standards. So video games do meet these standards to be beneficial for kids. It does improve test scores, and Peter Gray, PhD, a research professor at Boston College, says that it actually increases cognitive development and is very beneficial. He says fast-paced games increase test scores for visuospatial abilities, so it improves reflexes and reaction time, so kids can react fast to stuff. So second of all, it does help with memory. So what that means is you have to complete tasks and progress in the game, and sometimes you may need to retain certain information from early on in the game to be used later. So memory skills have to come into play as far as that. And it also helps kids memorize large group of numbers, so it can be beneficial for school in that perspective. And it does improve attention, according to an article by Hannah Nichols, an author for Medical News Today. Playing video games actually improves sustained and selective attention. So what are those? So sustained attention means you can stay focused regardless of outside stimuli. So you're focused on something, there's other stuff going around, you kind of ignore it, so you're pretty focused. And selective is someone who reacts to certain specific stimuli when others are happening. So they're kind of the same thing, but they're just more selective, more specific. And it actually takes less activation time to stay focused on something, so it becomes more of a habit and it becomes less of a chore to do. And I think in the end, this actually helps kids with ADHD stay more focused. So third off, it does improve problem-solving skills. So in video games, kids are exposed to different obstacles, different situations that they have to overcome to progress. That means they have to solve puzzles or answer certain questions, stuff like that. And this gives them an opportunity to make independent decisions. So mom and dad are there, how do I solve this problem? Let's figure it out on our own. So it's very beneficial in that way. It also does increase advanced literacy skills. What does that mean? It means kids are introduced to endless amounts of words, different languages, different sentence structures, stuff like that. And it just kind of helps expand their vocabulary, so it gives them more exposure. So they can learn a lot more vocabulary words. And it does increase social skills. So when you play online, you can play with other people. Well, kids typically play with people they know, so friends from school or other family members, cousins, sisters, brothers, mom and dad, whatever. And sometimes interaction is necessary to progress in the game, so it kind of forces them to interact with others, so it kind of puts them in that situation forcefully. It also helps them learn social cues and how to interact with others, pretty much how to not be rude, how to be polite, how to be an actual human being. And it does help improve communication skills, and it does help the ability to cooperate in a group, so it kind of helps with that teamwork aspect as well. And it does help bond with family members. So personal story, I grew up playing video games, obviously. I mentioned that earlier in the speech. So when I would go home and do my homework, my dad would actually invite me to play video games with him. So he's actually the one that got me into video games in the first place. So we would either tackle each other head on 1v1, go against each other, or we would kind of tackle a single player game together, kind of help each other to see if we can get through it together. So that was very good quality bonding time for me and my dad. And those are memories I cherish for the rest of my life. And it actually helps siblings bond together, believe it or not. Siblings actually have to work together in a single player game, or they can do a cooperative game so they play together. Kind of helps them cooperate with each other. It also helps build trust and companionship with family members. So kind of learn to trust each other as well. So we learned a lot about why video games are beneficial. So let's kind of recap and relearn everything. So in conclusion, certain standards have to be met to be considered beneficial. I think video games meet those standards. So next time you see someone that's playing video games, don't naturally assume that they're just wasting their time. Video games are obviously proven to be beneficial to kids and adults alike, but it's also very entertaining as well. So not only is it fun, but it's also very educational as well. Behind the scenes, video games are building the minds, they're building up, they're working everything, exercising it, making everything better. So for those of you who don't believe that video games are beneficial, I want you to pick up a controller and give it a shot and see what you think. See what kind of changes you see in your life. So that is my speech. I appreciate you guys listening. I hope you learned a little bit of something today. If you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you very much for your time.